Howdy friends. All right, let's talk ThunderMax. I had this ongoing video that I was just coming out here in the garage and the stuff was going on. I was appending the video and it turned into this really long, it was like, 30 minutes of stuff. So I'm gonna try to condense everything. I'll cut in some what the bike was actually doing and all that stuff so that everybody can see. And I wanna make sure that I say up front that this is not a video that's disparaging to ThunderMax in any way. They've been unbelievably kind and helpful. I'll talk a little bit about that here in a second, but it just didn't work on my bike. I've got a 2023 Lowrider ST, and I bought a ThunderMax, and I, for a lot of reasons. I think probably one of the biggest reason that a lot of folks go ThunderMax on new bikes that have a warranty is that it actually replaces the stock ECM in the bike. So if you ever need to take it in for warranty repair, all you need to do is pull that thing back out. It's not that difficult to do, and put the stock ECM back in, and then you're back in business. Whereas with something like PowerVision or something like that, it actually, if they plug it into the dealer, if they plug the ECM into the computer at the dealer, it's going to show them, it's going to tell them that the bike has been tuned. And eventually I may do that, but I just wanted to be able to, I put a 2-in-1 exhaust on. I put an SP Concepts big bore exhaust on my bike, and that's the only thing that I did that really wasn't stock. And so I went to Cycle Solutions. They've got a really great website where you can put in what your configuration is in your bike, and they basically send the ThunderMax out to you. It's pre-mapped. So you should be able to just plug it into the bike, follow the directions, turn the bike on, start auto-tuning, doing the whole thing. Well, I had an experience where when I put the ThunderMax in for the very first time, and I went the whole route. I installed the O2 sensors, put the exhaust back on, remounted. Like, I just assumed, like, oh, I'm gonna turn this thing on, everything's gonna work fine, and it didn't. And here's a quick video of what I saw the first time. I just took 2 little short videos so you can get an idea of like what was happening to the bike. So yeah, that wasn't fun. That freaked me out. I thought for sure after that happened that the bike was trashed, or something was gonna. So I immediately took everything apart, put it back to stock configuration. Luckily turned the bike on, started up, everything worked fine. No error messages, the tack wasn't bouncing around. That clicking noise that you hear, I couldn't figure out what it was. It turns out it's this thing called ACR, which is auto compression release. And you can read about it. There's a bunch of videos about it, but basically it just, as you turn the key on, it sort of vents or, gets, opens the cylinders to get some of that compressed air in there. Basically helps the bike start a little bit easier. And so you never really notice it when you first turn the bike on. You can hear some clicking and stuff down there, the fuel pump and stuff. But this, as you can tell from that video, it was freaking out. And I was like, man, what the heck is going on? So I went back to Cycle Solutions, and they said, hey, if you need to do a warranty thing, you need to go to open a ticket with ThunderMax. And I did, and I had really nice guy, gave me a cell phone number and everything from ThunderMax. We went back and forth. I was telling him what was going on. He asked me if I could like disconnect the crank sensor, which I got in there. It's kind of a pain in the butt on the Lowrider ST to get in behind there, but I did that. And that wasn't the problem. And so we just kind of were riffing through some of the things that might be an issue. I posted it on, there's a Facebook group, a ThunderMax owners Facebook group, and I kind of posted it out there. And I had a guy that was a mechanic up in the Northeast somewhere reach out to me. We had a little Facebook Messenger chat going on, and he's installed a bunch of these. And he's like, I've never seen that before. And so we just kind of started doing some troubleshooting. We talked on the phone, and we kind of agreed, because at that time, so what ThunderMax did, I skipped a step. I actually sent the original ECM back to them, and they shipped me a new one. And when I put the new one in, it did exactly the same thing. And so we were like, okay, well, what could this possibly be? And one of the really interesting nuances to it was, and it was kind of an accident because I was like, well, this thing's doing it again. I don't really know what the deal is. So I'm just gonna kind of send it. I'm just gonna send it back. And so what ended up happening was the ThunderMax was still connected to the bike. I had the stock O2 sensors in, and they were connected. And the ThunderMax was also was connected to the bike, and the at the time the O2 sensors were not, the wideband O2 sensors were not connected. And so when I turned the bike on, it was quiet. I remember looking down and I saw the ThunderMax was connected. I was like, why is it quiet? What's going on? What happened here? And then I started looking around. I'm like, oh, I have the stock O2 sensors. The exhaust was all hooked up and the stock O2 sensors were on there. So I was like, okay, well, this is interesting. So I started going around and doing all this sort of troubleshooting. Well, as soon as I would click in one of those wideband O2 sensors, either the front or the rear, it would automatically kick off the ACR on that cylinder. As soon as I unplugged it, it would stop doing it. As soon as I unplugged the stock O2 sensors, it started making that noise. It started doing the ACR thing, and the tach would start jumping around again. So anyway, this guy, going back to this guy that I was talking to, we kind of thought that if there was a place, it seemed very unlikely, but there's a harness that plugs into the ThunderMax that then plugs into the two wideband O2 sensors, which is different than, it's kind of a different configuration than the stock one. We thought, well, maybe that cable's bad. Weirder things have happened. And maybe it's one of the, I tried all these different permutations, moving the wideband O2 sensors around, everything, like it always did the same thing. So the ThunderMax folks were kind enough to send me a new Y cable, and they also sent me two new O2 sensors, and I went through this process, the permutation of testing everything. It did exactly the same thing again. And so again, the ThunderMax folks were really kind. Like, they asked me about if I would be open to shipping my bike up to Nashville. Their office is north of Nashville, on their dime. Like, they would get a shipping company to ship my bike up there so they could see what was going on. And initially I was open to that, but then after I started thinking about it, because it's kind of an open-ended, like, who knows, they could figure it out in a day. It could be something like, oh wow, that was done, that was super simple, or it could take weeks or a month or 2 months or something like that. And we just went through like the worst summer. I've been in Texas almost my whole life, and we've been through the worst summer this last summer, and the weather is absolutely gorgeous now. And I've got a brand new bike that barely has 1,000 miles on it, and the last thing that I want to do is ship it off to the nethers and have people banging on it and not really know like when I'm going to get it back. They even offered, I think the guy, there's like one of the engineers at ThunderMax, his brother or something, brother-in-law, has a shop up near Dallas, and they had offered to do the same thing, get up to Dallas. Obviously they wanted to have it in Nashville, but they were like, well, we can get it in Dallas. Same thing though. No idea when it would be fixed or when I would get the bike back, or if it even ever would be fixed. And so after thinking about it for a while, I just decided, you know what, I don't really want to do that. I'm just going to keep the bike. And so I, offered, or I asked them, hey, if there's a new firmware, if you guys run into another customer that's doing this and they're willing to let you look at their bike or something like that, please let me know, and I'll consider rebuying and going down that route again. But again, this video is really more for, if anybody sees this and runs into the same problem, you're not the first one out there. I haven't been able to find anybody that's run into this exact problem. And so maybe somebody else runs into it. I know that ThunderMax is a great product, and there are people that live by it and swear by it and they love it. And I was hoping to be a customer and to be able to show some videos. One of the things I thought was interesting was that there weren't a lot of videos from people like me, just dudes in their garage, using ThunderMax and tweaking it and how they auto-tune it, and maybe some videos of the software and doing stuff like that. Everything that I found was pretty old, and it was folks, like 5, 6, 7, 10 years old from ThunderMax. And I know there's people with brand new bikes that are using it again for probably mostly for the warranty and for the auto-tuning capabilities. So if the opportunity presents itself at some point, I'm open to it. Again, I appreciate the ThunderMax folks for all their help. But this is really not, this is more of a video if anybody sees this and has some ideas or they run into the same thing, to know that you're not the only one out there. And if you do resolve it or fix it, let me know, or comment on the video and other people that maybe somebody else has had the same problem. But that's really it. So I've got a video here that I'll show. This is with the second ThunderMax that came in and all the stuff hooked up. You know, I clipped to that, or cut to that first little clip. That was what I took immediately after, like when I emailed Cycle Solutions and was like, WTF, man, what is going on here? Those are just the two videos I took on my phone real quick. But then I took a little bit longer video, and so I'll go to that. But really, I'm just shipping it back. They're going to refund my money, and I'm shipping all the stuff that they sent me back. And you know, hopefully we get a chance to try again. But I'll end the video with this clip that I have here. Sorry, there's guys working out in front of my house. I'll end the video with this clip that I took with a little more detail on what was happening on the bike. And but anyway, thanks to the ThunderMax folks. I appreciate all their help, especially the support folks. And again, if you guys have any ideas, or certainly if you're somebody that's running into this, use the comment section to enlighten us all. But thanks again for watching. Unfortunately, I won't be able to. I was hoping I'd be able to put some ThunderMax videos up that were new, that were related to the Lowrider ST, but at least for the near term anyway, that's not going to be the case. But hopefully I'll get some actual riding, some trip videos coming up here soon, kind of getting my setup ready. I was hoping to get the bike with the ThunderMax and get it all kind of tweaked and tuned out. I mean, it's running great right now. I know there's a lot of people who run 2-in-1s that don't get it tuned, and they don't have any problems. But eventually I'll probably do a Power Vision or something like that. You know, once I get through enough miles where I feel like from a warranty perspective, I'm not really going to have any problems that were engine related problems that would have manifested themselves by that point. And then maybe I'll go that route, but we'll see. But anyway, thanks for stopping by, and hopefully this video is helpful for you. Appreciate it. Peace. It's a little narrower or something. I don't really know, but man, it is tight getting this thing in there. So basically that's what's going on. And then I have these connected to the clips down here, right? And so basically kind of how it's been set up since last night. If I turn the bike on, so you can see that tack jumping around, and then right up under here, it's hard to hear it, and it's getting less, which is really weird. Like the number of times and the amount of times that you heard it just stop there for a second, and every once in a while, yeah. So, and again, if you come up here, you know, you got the whole thing going on. So that's basically what the situation is at this point, and I'm just gonna take it back to stock and ride it, because I mean, unless this Midlothian thing kind of works out, to go take it to a shop. But that's kind of where we are now, folks. I'll pick it back up when we got more progress.